I would say wearing brand colors. Nobody has that many orange shirts, or it just bothers me when you watch an ad and everybody's wearing the brand colors. It's just so over the top and obvious to me. So yeah, wardrobe is always a thing when I'm there. One thing a team that I work with has come up with recently is a client who has a medication that's an injection had new dosage strengths for their vials. So they had different color vials for different dosage strengths. They had to get that information to people who need it. Sounds like a pretty boring task, but the team created this TikTok soap opera starring the different color vials and made them into characters, and it's been this ongoing kind of saga and drama, all just through the effort of getting out these new dosage strengths. So that's one of the recent fun ones that I love. Recently, there's been even a bigger outcry than normal, and people calling for the ban of consumer advertising, or DTC in particular. There was a big New York Times article that got hundreds and hundreds of comments of people saying that the commercials are terrible, that they need to take them off of air. You know, as somebody who's made my whole career in healthcare advertising, it's a little jarring to hear that. But I do think that it's bringing on this wave of potential change that would be great. You know, either really rethinking how these commercials need to show up in the world, the litany of side effects listed out that can probably scare people away more than anything. Not that that information is not important, but is there a new way for us to communicate that? Is there a different way for us to reinvent what these DTC spots look like? Or do they need to go away? Do we need to find better channels to get this information to people in a way that isn't so abhorrent to the general public? So I do think that we're going to see potentially a revolution in how that shows up in broadcast and in these major platforms. So women's health has become, or has always really been referred to as a separate entity. There's women's health and women's health brands, but almost everything should be a women's health brand, right? I don't think that we need to always be thinking of it as a separate thing and treat only certain products and certain things as women's health. You know, traditionally it's things that are gynecologic or, breast cancer, things that are, somewhat unique to female anatomy. But when you reframe it in a way that, like, how do we show up for women's health across all of the different organ systems, across everything that a woman needs to protect her health, I think it might change how people approach the advertising, change how you're approaching what you're talking about and how you're showing up. But something I think that should be out there for people to consider when they're approaching any brand.